Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Friday to everybody. Quick video today. I want to touch up on a little bit of the things I talked about on my video yesterday when I did the giveaway for the Super Chat and the Patreon page. I went into a little bit about Antonio Brown, how he would fit with the Panthers. I didn't really give an opinion either way as whether or not I'd want him. I mean, obviously I'd want an elite receiver like that. We really need one, but he comes with a lot of baggage. He comes with a big-time cap hit. Last night when we were all sleeping, the Bills and the Steelers came this close to finalizing a deal for Antonio Brown. And that fell through just a couple of hours ago. And I'm sure you've all heard about it by now. But basically, Antonio Brown is flexing his muscle. And listen, if you can do that, more power to the guy. You know, if he can dictate where he's traded and get away with it, listen, it's a capitalist society. And, he basically said, I'm not going to the Bills. I won't show up. And so it fell through. What this really does, though, this opens the door for a lot of other teams for a couple of reasons. Number one, what are they going to get for Antonio Brown? There's reportedly several teams that are interested in trading for Antonio Brown, but they weren't willing to give up a first-round pick or multiple picks. And the Bills were, at least at first. So the longer this goes on, because the Steelers are going to have to pay Antonio Brown a $2.5 million bonus if they don't deal him before March 17th, which is like a week away, right? So they're looking to get rid of him for a lot of reasons. They want to get rid of him because they don't want to have to pay that $2.5 million. They want to get rid of him to end this drama and so they can move on with their roster and preparing for the year and just get out of the news, this negative news cycle they're in. So there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be back in the mix here and saying, listen, we'll give you maybe a second or a third round pick, or maybe a third round pick this year and a second round pick next year or something. But the stock is dropping and the Steelers are becoming more and more desperate. Not desperate's not the right word, but they're going to have to start dealing and taking a little bit less if they want to get rid of him. Now, this opens the door for teams like Carolina. This opens the door for teams like New York Jets, Green Bay Packers, I've heard. Obviously, Oakland. Oakland has the cap space. They've got all the cap space in the world. I think that's probably where he'll end up, but we'll see. But as far as Carolina goes, now look, if you're one of these Panthers fans that doesn't want Antonio Brown, I completely get it. I'm really objective either way. I would not want to see the Panthers give up a first or a second round pick for him this year because we've got other needs, big time needs that we need to address. But for a third round pick, listen, if Antonio Brown got signed for Carolina, I would not be upset about it unless they gave away too much to get him. Because we really need, that's a position of need that we really need and we haven't had for a very long time since Steve Smith left. And quite frankly, Antonio Brown's a better receiver than Steve Smith was. But a couple of other interesting things. So obviously David Tepper is the second-year owner of the Panthers. He was a minority owner for the Steelers for many years, so he's very familiar with the Rooney family, the owners up there in Pittsburgh. He's very familiar with Antonio Brown, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, I don't know what his personal feelings are. He really hasn't said anything as far as Antonio Brown goes. I do know that Antonio Brown, one of his biggest beefs, he had several beefs. He had beef with Mike Tomlin. I think he had a beef with the owners of the Steelers. I also know he had a beef with Ben Roethlisberger, which he's been very vocal about. And for some reason, he feels like that a quarterback and a receiver tandem like those two should have a better personal relationship. He didn't feel like they were friends. He didn't feel like Ben Roethlisberger had his back, that sort of thing. But Antonio Brown and Cam Newton are very friendly. They work out together during the offseason personally. And so they have a personal friendship there, which I think is something that Antonio Brown really values. Whether you think it's childish or not, that's Antonio Brown's opinion is Antonio Brown's opinion. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds here in the next week or so. Hell, we might even hear something today that somebody's going to sign him, Oakland or whoever. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with this. And if you're a Panthers fan, let me know. Most of the Panthers fans I've already talked to have told me that they don't want Antonio Brown, mainly because of the money. But let me ask you this. If they could figure out a way to get him for maybe a third or fourth round pick and sign him to a 3 or 4 year deal at right around the $20 million mark, I think is what he's getting, 20 or 21 million. Would you be open to that? I think that I would. As long as he doesn't steal our first or second round pick this year, I'd be willing to take him on, because he would be a great compliment to Greg Olsen, DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey. That offense would be awesome, as long as Cam Newton's healthy. But let me know what you think. I know we have other needs. I'm not going to be upset if the Panthers don't get him, but I'm not going to be upset if they do. So let me know. Have a great day. Pigskin Pete checking out.